Hello, hello, hello. We are very, very happy to bring you a new edition of our show titled Speak of Africa. In fact, the show of today, we are taping it from the White House in Washington, D.C., the capital of the brave and free world. So we wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance. So we're really, really excited that so many of you are supporting this show. Keep supporting it. We're very, very happy. In fact, on our laundry list, we want to really thank our viewers and our subscribers. Thank you very, 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 very much. You're doing a great job. You're sharing a whole lot of videos with your friends and family, and the numbers are going up. From the way we project, it looks like before December 31st, we'll get to the 10,000 milestone that we are wishing for. So thank you very much. So keep sharing and supporting us. Keep sharing, keep sharing, keep sharing. In fact, as you share, you comment, we take the comments very, very seriously. If you look at the comment section, we are engaging you every day. Whatever you comment, we look at your comments because as we told you in the past, this is your show. This is your show. Don't let it die. Please support your show. This show is the only voice you have. For the first time now, the average African has their voice heard all over the world. President Donald Trump can hear you. Vladimir Putin of Russia can hear you. So presidents all over the world can hear you. So we wanted to take this and make it big so that whatever you have to say, instead of people ignoring you, they will start hearing what you have to say. So continue sending your stories to us. We appreciate those stories that you share because all our shows are based on volunteers sending us information, mostly through WhatsApp, okay? We take this information, then we build the show of the day. For the show of today, we have so many stories, and you're going to really enjoy the show very, very much. As we say, in the next few days, it will be Christmas, then New Year, so we want to wish you Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, okay? For the show of today, we want to start first by looking at some laundry items. We look at a video that somebody sent to us of a happy couple. Where were they celebrating their wedding? They were celebrating their wedding on top of a caterpillar. So I've never seen that before myself. I said, African people have talent. You see, we got talent. These people are celebrating their wedding on top of a caterpillar. Then they had their groomsmen and bridesmaid in tow. So it's really a very exciting experience. I've seen this for the first time in my life, and I'm like, wow. Who said Africans don't have talent? This is really great. I saw it and I really appreciate it. Today also, on a serious note, is the 400th anniversary of slavery. African slaves were brought to the Americas in 1619. So today is 2019. So today marks the 400th anniversary of slavery. So what does that tell us? We want to end slavery. We want to end colonization. So the only way we can do this is to free ourselves from all those shackles that are holding us. We want to cut those chains, okay? We want to cut the colonial chains and chase the dream of Pan-African unity. That's what we want to do. And that's the purpose of the show of today, okay? We've realized that our good friend France, the neo-colonizer, our friend is having too many problems. So what happens when your enemy is having too many problems? You celebrate a little bit, right? Yes. France is having a whole lot of problems. In fact, the last 2 weeks, there has been a very serious protest and strikes. Workers are striking, and this is strangulating the French economy, okay? Things are not easy for these people right now. They are really having a hard time. When you look at the way the French people are striking, they're even against some of the changes Emmanuel Macron, their president, is trying to introduce. So they are challenging, the workers are challenging all those changes. So you can see a lot of French workers on the street. They are fighting Mr. Macron, and it's really tough. Then France again has not really had things easy this week. In Nigeria, we told you before, people were protesting against France, but things metamorphosed into a bigger protest when people now started accusing France as the sponsor of Boko Haram and terrorism in Africa. You can even see a video by some Nigerians showing France as the sponsor of terrorism in Africa. Let me give you a minute to look at the video.
From the forces of evil that have attempted to cause disharmony and disintegration by covertly sponsoring the activities of terrorists in Nigeria. We're embarking on this protest march to send a powerful message to the French authorities that Nigerians are indeed aware of its nefarious activities with regards to the ongoing war against terrorism in northeast of Nigeria. The movement against slavery and terrorism as a civil society organization, we have decided to take our protest to the French embassy where we are now.
That's not all. So France is not really having it easy. We also hear that over 8 African countries are trying to withdraw all their foreign currency reserves from the French treasury. This is going to make things difficult for France again. So it's not going to be easy, okay? So France is not really having it easy. France is having a tough time. In fact, that's why Emmanuel Macron has decided that probably around the 22nd of December, he may have to travel to 2 French colonies, Niger, where many French soldiers died a few weeks ago, and some local African soldiers also lost their lives. Then he's also going to go to Ivory Coast, one of those neo-colonial colonies of France. So Emmanuel Macron is going to travel there to try to take care of business. But we think, as we've been telling you on this show, France is not a good guy. They don't really do things well, but we are ready now to break those chains. And that's the message we have for you today. Break those chains. Break those chains. If we break those chains, in fact, we will really be listening to a message that we were given by Kwame Nkrumah Osajifo. Kwame Nkrumah, as you know, used to be the first president of Ghana, independent Ghana. He led Ghana to independence. Kwame Nkrumah was a very visionary leader. He had foreseen most of the problems that we're dealing with in Africa today, which is why he rallied African leaders at the time to form the Organization of African Unity.
Africa is rich and not poor. It is Africans who are poor, not Africa. And they are poor because of the uncounted profit that has been made out of the exploitation of their labor and their lands.
Because he wanted to continue the process of decolonization. As he saw it, he wanted this process to end with the unification of the African continent. But a lot of leaders did not really support him because of jealousy. But today, when we look at the problems Africa is facing, we really cry because we wish Nkrumah had lived. So we even have a video which one of you sent to us. In fact, as we're coming to the studio, we received this video of Kwame Nkrumah. Kwame Nkrumah was just talking about his message. His message is threefold. His message has a political dimension, an economic dimension, and a social dimension. Summarily, for those who have not really read Kwame Nkrumah's books or listened to any of his speeches, politically, he stands for one Africa. We need to form one country, just like the United States has 50 states. The countries of Africa need to become one nation, so that in that case, we'll have one president. So this will give us a lot of clout in the international community. If this works, Africa will become the center of the world's attention again, just like Africa has been the cradle of civilization. When we talk about revisionist history, people laugh at us. It's because we don't have much to show today for our past glory, okay? So people just feel like we're just making noise. We did not really do much in the past. So which is why I'm challenging all of you. Let us not just rest on our laurels, our achievements of the past. Let us recreate those achievements today. Join us in making Africa great again. So let us look at the lesson of Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. We'll take our continent, we need to unite, but first we need to break those chains that are holding us and keeping us as slaves. Politically, we need to become one country. We need to tear down all our borders so that instead of Ghana and Togo fighting over border issues. They are one people. They don't need to worry about those borders. Those borders were set by the colonial masters during the Berlin Conference. Okay, so we don't need those borders anymore. Those borders are not really meaningful. Okay, they are arbitrary. They were just drawn on a map without taking into account. So politically, Kwame Nkrumah was dreaming of continental unification, and our challenge to the average person is that we love the fact that you are getting this message and you are acting because you want to be free. Second, Kwame Nkrumah also preached economic unity. Kwame Nkrumah had seen that the colonial master wanted just to keep us as slaves. We are the proletariats. They are the bourgeoisie. We work for them. But we have to overthrow them so that we can take power to ourselves. Africa needs to have one currency, such as the Afro. We are one nation, one currency, so that we can trade among the various states. And look at the United States. Trade is very powerful because America is one unit. They can always combat any other country because they are very big. They have size. Size matters. Economies of scale comes into account when you start dealing with big size, which is why we need a bigger economy, and which is why when a meeting was held in Kigali, Rwanda, to bring Africans together to talk about international trade, we supported it very, very much because a lot of African states or nations do not trade with each other. If they start trading intra-Africa, it will help us a whole lot because African nations are trading with other nations in the motherland. So it will make it easy for our country or continent to develop, which is really the dream we have of our economy. Third, we also need to have one culture, one language. It's true that we have a lot of diversity, we have a lot of languages, but it's easy. We can even decide to choose a particular African language and we'll make it a national language. We can choose Swahili, for example. We can choose Yoruba, for example. We can choose Hausa. Once we choose a language, then we'll be using it as our national language. Or we can just choose a language that most of us agree that we should use, then we'll use it as the national language of the motherland. When we do this, it gives us pride, a form of identity. Because when you look at the United States, why is it possible for us to form one country in the United States? It's because we have one language, one culture, okay? Africans need to learn the same thing. Look at Japan. They have a common language. Look at China. They have a common language. But it doesn't mean that they do not have other languages. No, they have. Look at even Britain. The English that is spoken in Britain today was the language that was popular around London. I studied linguistics, so I can really tell you this because I know a lot about languages. The language that was spoken around London became the language that became English. But if you look at Old English, Middle English, you'll see that English had different varieties, okay? They had different varieties that were in vogue in different parts of the country. But the dialect that became known as English was the dominant dialect around London because London was the center of commerce, okay? So it doesn't mean that if we have Swahili, we should not have other languages. We can still be using the other languages, but officially we'll be using the language of our choice as the main language. If we can do that, then it will really help us to really realize the dream of Kwame Nkrumah, which is what we wish today. Kwame Nkrumah has been gone for a long time, but when I read most of the comments you share with me, it looks like you guys really want this United States of Africa to happen. Unfortunately, most African leaders don't want it to happen because it means they will lose power. As we're coming to the studio this evening, Julius Malema of the Economic Freedom Party of South Africa, which is probably the third largest party in South Africa, he was also rehearsing, he was supporting the idea of Pan-African unity, okay? He likes the idea that Africans should be together. So Julius Malema, a leader of a big party in South Africa, is supporting our vision, and we salute him, and we're telling you that you guys have your message and people are hearing you. So continue watching this show because as you're watching this show and commenting, we're sharing your ideas. So do not be left behind. Join us to create a revolution.
Hey, yo, Shape, I thought you was gonna take me to this place so I could get my taxes done. You know I'm trying to buy a new house. What's up?
let's get it on. If you searching for a house, call up my man Prince O'Joan, the best in real estate. Take it from your guy's shape. When I say his services are the best in the states, word is born. He even take care of your tax forms, fat refunds. So come, get your business done. Consultations, financial organization, fast processing, no waiting. This man is amazing. The Prince.
Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131.
Okay, after Ghana, we want to take you now to Ivory Coast. As we said a few minutes before, Macron Emmanuel, the president of France, will be visiting Ivory Coast soon. Ivory Coast is going to be having presidential elections in October 2020, but already there's a lot of jockeying for power going on in that country. It looks like the French want to keep that country within the French domination, within the French orbit. But there are other people like Mamadou Koulibaly who want to take this country out of the French orbit to independence. But you also have other people like Guillaume Soro. I know you guys have heard of Guillaume Soro. He has held many positions in the government. He was the one who really launched the attack against Gbagbo, which resulted in the civil war in that country. He was actually a tool of the French. This is a young man who really sees himself in the mold of Emmanuel Macron. He thinks he can replicate Macron's success in France in Ivory Coast. But we really feel sorry for him because the French used him as a tool to get rid of Laurent Gbagbo and bring in Alassane Ouattara. So he had struck a deal with the French and Alassane Ouattara, thinking that after Ouattara runs the country, he will give up and make him president. But Ouattara enjoys power, he doesn't want to leave. So Guillaume Soro is so frustrated. In July, he left the country. He said he's coming back on the 22nd of December to announce his candidacy for his new movement. How are things going to be? We think the election in Ivory Coast is going to be interesting because there are two main forces that are really fighting for supremacy. You have the old elephants that we mentioned last week, Henri Konan Bidier, Laurent Gbagbo, and Alassane Ouattara. Alassane Ouattara is saying that if those old elephants, including him, are going to be jockeying for power, then he has a right to stay and remain president. But he says if the young people want them to leave, then new blood can be pumped into the political system. But we don't think he will be willing to forgive Guillaume Soro. Even though Guillaume Soro fought a war and made him president, because they had a falling out, I don't think there will be any rapprochement because he will not want to allow Guillaume Soro to really take power in that country. But you can see that the people of Ivory Coast are fighting. In fact, before we came to the studio this evening, we saw some of you sent us a video. This video is showing you French forces fighting unarmed Ivorians. These unarmed Ivorians were challenging the French forces, letting them know that this is not your country. You cannot be harassing us in our country. You can see French soldiers harassing Ivorians in their own country, which is not a good scene. But we're going to share this video with you so you can see the way French people treat Africans in their own country, in their own homeland. So what about if these people were in France? How would they be treated? Probably even worse. But we're happy that Africans now are standing up to French citizens with their domination and their dictatorship. So we're happy to really see this, and the video that we have now will really show you the way these Africans were really challenging the French soldiers. There was a couple, they were in their car, they were just enjoying a ride, and the French soldiers just emerged from nowhere and started harassing them. This was not really a pretty scene, but we like the fact that the people stood to their guns and they even risked their own lives and said, listen, this is our country. You cannot challenge us in our own country. So get lost. The French soldiers were really humiliated, and eventually they had to allow them to go where they were going. But it was really a big disgrace for the French soldiers, and we salute these young Ivorians for really fighting to break those chains of the colonial master France. This was really a good scene. okay?
Life insurance money secrets of millionaires and billionaires exposed. Discover how America's rich and famous exploit these arcane tools to build fabulous wealth. Why should these big white guys have all the fun? Let Prince Ojong, the celebrity author of The Miraculous Millionaire, show you the little understood life insurance way to riches. Are you still doubting the good things that life insurance can do for you? Trust strategies, estate planning, 401k rollover, annuity contract, cash value, education funding, executive benefits, income protection, life protection, living benefits, mortgage protection, tax-free retirement? Think and grow rich with life insurance. Your amazing journey to wealth begins by calling Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131.
Okay, next, we're going to take you to Kenya. Kenya. We like the story in Kenya because you can see that are eventually moving towards independence. You could even see brothers fighting to unite. They've had a lot of discord, which led to the killing of a lot of Kenyans. But Uhuru Kenyatta is a very visionary leader. If you see the way he tries to create a form of rapprochement with his political enemies, he accepts them as brothers and welcomes them. Look at the way he treats Raila Odinga. I mean, look at the video for a few minutes and you really appreciate why we praise this young man.
I only want to conclude with one last act. I want to invite my brother Guillaume to come to the stage. Karibu. Don't worry, we're not singing today. You don't have to worry about that. And as I do, I want to invite also my brother Raila and Kalonzo. We have campaigned against one another. We have said nasty things about each other. We have hurt one another. On my behalf, Ndugu, I ask for your forgiveness.
So we are asking ourselves, why can other African leaders not emulate the example of Kenya? Raila Odinga and Uhuru Kenyatta, who were bitter rivals, are now working together as brothers for the progress of Kenya. This is what we expect other African leaders to do. If they will do it, then it will be a great thing for the motherland. But so far, most of them just believe in the politics of exclusion. When they get into power, they don't want their brothers to enjoy any form of power. They just try to monopolize the power and keep everything to themselves. Okay, next, we're going to take you to Cameroon. You will see a whole lot of newspapers. Whenever we deal with Cameroon, we look at a lot of the newspapers to see what is going on. There has been a civil war going on in Cameroon, and I may even call it a genocide because the government of Paul Biya has been killing a lot of people. And finally, the American government has given Mr. Biya some notice. They gave him a 72-hour ultimatum. They want him to move his soldiers back to the east of the country and leave the Ambazonia area. If not, then the American might will rain on them. They've given him that warning. Then there's also a letter written by a few U.S. Congress persons telling Mr. Biya that they know that he's a big liar, he's killing people, and he's refusing that he's not killing people. We have all the proof, and we've been sharing this information with the U.S. government and all interested parties. So finally, they've come to understand that Mr. Biya is a liar, is a chronic liar. They caught him in his own lies. He keeps saying one thing, but does the other. He keeps claiming that the Ambazonians are the ones killing people, but we show the proof. Mr. Biya's soldiers are burning homes every day. You see, they burn innocent people's homes and they kill them. We don't really want to be showing you images of dead people. So sometimes YouTube things we're showing images that are too dark, but that's just the truth of life in that part of the world. The people are really dying and there's not much that is going on. We really want the international community to really step in. Already it looks like pressure is being mounted on Mr. Biya. For the first time, serious pressure is really mounting. There was even a US airplane, military plane that landed in Simelen Airport in Yaoundé, and a lot of Cameroonians were really scared. They did not know what to expect. But from what we see, most of the newspapers are just talking about the municipal and legislative elections that are going to take place in February. But from the way we see things, those elections are not really going to take place for so many reasons. One, even though a lot of the politicians have been bribed by Mr. Biya's government to take part in these sham elections, the people of Ambazonia are making it difficult for politicians who come from the northwest and southwest regions to participate in these elections. For starters, the Ambazonia Restoration Forces have been arresting some of these politicians and telling them not to participate in the elections. So this is really creating a whole lot of tension. There's a whole lot of havoc. So we don't see how elections can take place in La République where there is no peace. It's just not going to happen. It will just be another sham election organized. You can look at all the newspapers that we're sharing with you. Things are really tough. The soldiers are burning a lot of houses and they're making life difficult. Even in the north of Cameroon, there's no peace. So today, Cameroon is a country in confusion. We saw a lot of pictures of guns that were seized in the north area. That's like when you have Garwa, Marwa, and Gaoundere, that northern area. A lot of guns were seized. But what is this going to do? Will it stop Boko Haram? No, Boko Haram will still come back and strike when they want to. Because it looks like they choose when to come in and they choose when to leave. So even the military guys of Mr. Biya, the B, cannot really stop Boko Haram from really coming in and creating a lot of havoc. So there's so much chaos in this country now that we think the international community should tell Mr. Paul Biya to beat it. Beat it right now, okay? Because we just have more bloodshed, and we know nobody wants to be seeing blood, but that's the reality of what is happening on the ground. So many people are dying, and even the National Assembly of Cameroon cannot really come up with any constructive solutions because the people are just afraid of Mr. Paul Biya. But it looks like the Americans are really mounting a lot of pressure. Recently, the French are saying that yes, they will support any American move against Mr. Biya. Because all of them are saying now that Mr. Biya is not good for business. When there is no peace, there's no tranquility where business can take place. So this man used to say he was taking care of their business interests, but he's not doing that anymore. So most of these foreign donors are really unhappy because they cannot really do business in Cameroon anymore. So things are really tough and they don't like it. You can even see the environment getting topsy-turvy. Then of course, you can see that most of the Amba guys, before we get into Ambazonia with this video of today, we want to salute our president, Sissoco Ayok-Tabe Julius, the president of Ambazonia. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we wish all the Ambazonians who have been arrested and jailed in Kondengi and other prisons in Cameroon, we wish you a Happy New Year and a Merry Christmas in advance. So we wish you the best and we pray for you every day. Just know that all will be good. So just know that they may take your freedom for a few years, but God is watching and God is with you, okay? So peace be with you. Already, your brothers are out there fighting for you. They may not have a lot. The government of La République makes it difficult for them to import guns. So what most of the guys are doing today, you send us some of the videos and the pictures. A lot of the guys are making local weapons with just simple devices. And we can demonstrate some of the weapons that they are making. They are making weapons that can even blow an armor car. So you will see the way they demonstrate some of these weapons. We can even share a video of Field Marshal, the great Field Marshal. As we were coming to the studio, somebody sent us pictures showing the attack of Lebialem by the forces of La République. Field Marshal was able to use his rocket-propelled grenades to beat all these forces. There were 3 big armored cars with soldiers from La République, but Field Marshal was able to destroy all of them. So Field Marshal will really live as a great person for the time that we're doing this show because he's really the hero of Ambazonia. He has built this rocket. You can see the working of this rocket. He himself was showing us how this rocket works. So you can even watch the video to see how the rocket works.
Today is the 15th of December 2019. This is Field Marshal in his industry, which is coming out with the number 4 rocket launcher. And as you can see, this rocket launcher has a stand. It is not the same like the one La Republique is using. You can see the magazine in his hand. He wants to insert it now. That is a bullet of the rocket launcher. You can see what he's doing there now. He has put the bullet and he has locked it. So this one is 3 times force than what La Republique is using. You see, it rotates from all the directions. That is why it has stand, because it has a lot of force. So very soon you will hear the experiment when they will taste the explosive nature of it. So you can see it for yourself.
In addition to Field Marshal, you also have other Ambazonia restoration forces who are building locally made weapons, which can really break and blow off armored vehicles also. You can also see the way the guys are showcasing their weapons. They are very, very happy because they pack a lot of explosive in these weapons, and the weapons can really do serious damage. So when you look at this type of weapons, you see that to keep people in slavery is a mistake because the people are really fighting and fighting and fighting.
65 days. But when I see I'm going to Amoka 65 days, I take when I go for the rare Amoka them again. You want to Amoka 75, and they still am so. Amoka 85, and they still load and load them. Yes. When I see a high no. Yes. You want to Amoka. Now the rating that you want to hear Odeshi. La Republique say get Odeshi, you want to hear Odeshi. But I don't see them no. Yes. I will show on a paper. These two they now so don't be ready for finish even na amine Amoka. Yes. As you see I'm so na then that so. Yes. Must show na he kept the new the connector for they are whip them. Yes. If na the city dog so, now the dog they give the experience. When I see baby they know. Now they give more all. Yes. When I not ever catch the freedom fighter them. When I go catch baby them. When I never catch actor them yeah. And the men people in this craze. Yes. Now they would already load now. When I say I don't flop fine no. Yes. I was sure for my brother them.
So we're telling you now that now is the time for us to declare our freedom and independence. Okay? So freedom now, freedom forever. We thank you very much for watching the show of today, and we're asking you to continue subscribing and sharing our video. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year in advance. May God bless you.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.